All right, man. Had the damn cut off again. I'm pulling a little bit out of bro and shit. You know, something I'll do with that shit, of course, man. It's a Juneteenth day, making something to do with the shit. Yeah, baby. Heineken, Heineken, Juneteenth shit. We on, baby. You know, ain't stuck in no bullshit. They got the vice and grip and some shit, trying to play the twisted shit or something. But we gonna peep some twisted shit. They try to have societies, you get some pines and shit, but got the Heineken, man. So yeah, right where we was at, um, right here. See on the show right here. Obviously, this is clearly just a few minutes ago. 11:41, 6:56 right now. But we're gonna ride it on. It was cut off. Show right where we was at. We're gonna bring it back. You know, it's like that 100 kind of 6 pack. You know, just like that. Just in time with it, baby. Getting back. Shit. Alright, let's check this shit, man. Right here. This delivery part. Um, I'm parking. Rehab and like a working out. All that shit. We going for it right here. Shit. We'll go back a bit and then bring the shit on back. See what we gonna do. Y'all see that shit right there? Talking about Gene Deal, talking about Foxy Brown be question. Sometimes Gene Deal is off on certain other shit, but sometimes he's on. It depends, I guess, on the situation. But certain shit is on. Kind of like the whole Mace and Biggie thing. That's a little bit off, man. Obviously Mace and all them niggas around was knowing shit was popping off already. Big Ben had, little, drama or spats along the way with people, just like hella other artists. So I don't think anything could be so specific to, make it like, like Mace fucked up big or some shit. But then again, I don't think Mace and Big was necessarily also. I don't think they was that close either. So I'm looking at it like that. You got to look at Big. The motherfucker's a little more to Big than Mace. Mace wasn't exactly like in Big's you know camp of people or no shit like that. Not exactly. That was Big's people was some other niggas, man, Brooklyn and all that shit. Yeah, I mean that right there was pretty much a little more deeper than Mace, basically. Shit, just keep it real. Hell yeah. But we're gonna take a look at Pac and where he was gonna go, or where he was. Well, not where he was gonna go. He was set to go. Or he was already going to rehab. Basically, um, you do see a few other strange aspects that people mention. Um, like we talk about Tupac transported to UMC, right? Shit like that. And I've seen what's it? It's called like Straight Game TV or so like that. And they mentioned like Pac was dead before he got to the hospital, which is obviously not exactly true. And I'll say why. You know, yeah, straight game TV. Um, I'll say why because of the Las Vegas Sun and what they were saying back then. The way he was reported as critical, not dead or anything like that. There was no shit like that or unconscious. Or, it wasn't like that. And just looking at this situation again, certain things break off this type of shit. Like when you look at the 20th year anniversary of Pac All Eyes on Me, man, Prodigy was just saying a lot of shit a few years back about, Pac and what he was meaning and kind of like where it really dealt with going against the government bullshit in the community and certain situations with the, people snitching, certain niggas on the street doing the snitching, though. All that, how it was combining for certain, this big situation of an agenda where really the situation, I think that is creating what Prodigy said at the point the government, they're really trying to kill us. They do. So we got to be careful if we making this shit to where they can do that, and you feel like it was the government that got it Pac a bit somehow, I mean, a lot of these niggas he was saying is like that. Oh, like in terms of the whole rap shit, like it's like the government aspect to it, like because of the industry. So you have that in the mix, But Pete was right on most of the shit, and some of the government shit he was definitely on point about. But a lot of this happening around this whole 20th anniversary, All Eyes on Me. Again, that same time, I could remember like hell, I got stabbed during that time period. All that shit was being put out, like the All Eyes on Me. That time it was 2017. It was being put. Now it wasn't just I was getting stabbed and fucked up or nothing like that. Nah, I mean there was blood but shit bleeding, and nigga was goddamn, you know, putting the damn punches right back to motherfuckers like that. Yeah, right back to motherfuckers just like that. So it wasn't just somebody just taking this knife. Nah, throwing punches. Hey, doing my thing. I just say it like that. It ain't no blame. I'm just saying. The point is, yeah, nigga was working the damn punches, all that shit at the motherfucker. Motherfucker working his knife is what it is. But the point I'm making at the end of the day, hell, I got papers that'll show the whole situation anyway. So this ain't no lie, no shit like that. I mean, a lot of wild shit after, but that was obviously with the law and shit. They on their feet, but it's definitely blood and shit. It wasn't no fault. I mean, it was just some wild shit. But just saying like that, when you look at it, um, there was so much commotion in that because, first, I'm the type of nigga I'm not trying to hit the hospital. And this is years back. This is again all eyes on me that time of the 20th anniversary. I'm the type of nigga I ain't trying to hit no hospital or shit like that. I'm not a fan of the hospital like that. Not for certain shit. Yeah. So, but none to matter. I would say that if you get sedated, that's why I'm bringing in this situation. If you get sedated, which of course I'll find out, but like, that was obviously later when I came to. But yeah, I had obviously a big ass. I had it was basically pretty big ass surgery. But regardless, or well, I don't want to say too. It wasn't like so big or some shit like that, but it was it was big. It was considerable, right? I just say considerable surgery. So it was big, basically. But when you look at that shit, you do get sedated on the scene. Paramedics show up, all that. If of course, once you're um, put on to whatever stretch or something, once you allow that, of course, once you allow it or whatever, they pick you. Yeah, there's a point where they'll sedate you, especially if you're going straight to surgery. And so I'm just speaking a little bit. They you straight there or anything like that, they can sedate you. So this is no opinion or nothing like that. But in terms of Pac being dead, headed to the ICU or critical care, it wasn't exactly that. Um, there's obviously hella opinions about it. So Just look at a couple right before we check the Arizona shit out. With the Cardinals, they did something in the late 1990s. That's in Pop. That's the rehab spot where he was set at, or set at with. Yeah, it goes Shakur's condition. It was critical. That's what they were saying. Um, of course, they're saying that after the surgeries and all of that. But even so, um, with all that, the surgeries, removal of the lung, all of this shit, and we will look at one more aspect of it. Not a critical shit here. This just, of course, after he went to surgeries. So I would say that if he was like already like you talking about like dead, I don't think that'll I don't think that'll be like to the point where they got him to that point. The rehab, like in that type of instance of quickness, I'm gonna say Pac really wasn't dead for that quick for him to be still, goddamn, at a point like still recognizing shit and all that. It wasn't no he came. It wasn't an aspect he came to the hospital dead. I mean, I wouldn't say that. I mean, and of course, you see this shit here, people trying to make movies off it called The Great Escape or whatever. People come up with shit. To me, the reality shit of Pac and this whole escape, I think the reality shit is it's just him hitting Arizona and rehabbing. That's that's the shit he was doing. That's everything was going. He's going. He's set to Arizona rehab. Where them Cardinals and all that shit play at, all that shit. But here's the big thing that's come from the whole All Eyes on Me, all that. It didn't, spark people into some of the other documentaries, the murder rap shit, all of that happening around other little documentaries, Dear Mama. When you look at this whole conscious on the way to the hospital, I'm going to say that, of course, some people are saying don't believe everything that Suge says, which would be true. Which would be true. I mean, not everything, depending on what it is. But of course, the whole so-called last, I don't know, regardless of you want to say possible words or whatever he said, last words or whatever the fuck you want to say, but he did obviously, he put the damn middle finger up at the police. You know what the fuck it is, you know. But interested, to see this. Some people are talking about you have an actual doctor. Um, this is past the whole bicycle cop Chris Carroll shit, and they're saying that they're the ones that got Pac out the car. So there's a lot of conflicting shit. That is true, but you know, Kadada said that he lost consciousness, so I don't think he ever really arrived at the hospital. I think it's a more of an in and out type of state of things. He wasn't dead or anything like that. I think it's more of in and out, in and out. And that's what it seems like most people were saying. Um, you know, they were saying that the shit was saying, at least Pac was conscious. He was cracking jokes and all that shit. But some people say don't believe that. But Kadada said he was really in bad shape. But because even though he arrived with no blood pressure, he ended up losing consciousness, but he still would have it here and there. So I think it's more of an in and out, state of things of conscious going in, going out, all that shit. So it wasn't dead, but he's still conscious here. Some points, other points it's not. But as it said here, um, you know, some say Mopreme was Pine was screaming or some shit, but no one could understand him because there was a lot of pipes, and surgery material in the throat. So it's obviously a lot of shit. But as it says, some say he was conscious. Well, talking, I'll just say there was no possible way he could have talked. I didn't really hear the talking aspect, but you did hear the shit with the voices, the scream. He's trying to say shit. Mo Primo was like he kept trying to say shit, but he couldn't get shit out. But he would keep trying. So obviously he had to be conscious. So, but I think it was more of an in and out thing. Now, according specifically to Del Pugh University Medical Center of Southwest Nevada, he had his right lung removed. It was pretty damn hard to fucking talk, but he had his right lung removed, and he's back in his room again, and he remains in critical condition. He's in intensive care unit. So he had remained. He was already in critical condition before, and then once he had a lung removed, they say he remains in critical condition. So he was brought in, according to Del Pugh, clearly he was brought in on critical condition. So shit, he clearly had the damn conscious. But somebody interviewed Carnelli was asking, is he conscious? Can he communicate with his doctor? And Pugh says he has been conscious. He is under a lot of medication, so he's pretty sedated at this time. He's severely injured, suffering multiple gunshot wounds. It's obviously a terrible insult to the human body. So he's in very critical condition. He's requiring intensive care, and he is receiving that right now. That's according to the medical person, Dale Pugh, at the spot, UMC. So you have that aspect too, what the shit everybody else say. But clearly he did have conscious at points. So I think it's more of an in and out. Sometimes he seems faded off, but they say do sedated, so it's more in and out shit. That's just looking at this, you can come to a conclusion, especially with the along with everybody's shit, and obviously with the significance of Mr. Pugh, the doctor of the interview or in the interview. So all of that shit right there, it shows man he was conscious. Yeah, he knew shit. He was trying to get at more pre, you know. Though he's trying to really just tell him some shit, but he was really trying really hard because of that long aspect. But he was trying. So obviously he had to be conscious with that. I mean, it's Pac, so there was some strength, right? It's within this whole shit. But yeah, just looking at it, but it is. Of course, a Fanny didn't like the whole cardiac arrest aspect, and there was this whole shit about not resuscitate, all this shit. Although Mr. Billy Garland years later said Mr. Billy Garland said, "Yeah, oh no, I would have just kept Pac on whatever they had him on, shit like that." But Um, gotta mention him too. Like I mean, we know Finney was always dope, but hey, man, gotta peep what Mr. Garland saying too. I guess Fanny, obviously, I mean, yeah, don't get me wrong. I mean, she been through the shit she been through too, but I still see what Mr. Billy Garland is saying on that. Like, whatever they had going, I just leave what the doctors had. Fanny, going of course, make a choice on what it was. Um, but we're gonna go on and check it out right here. This is just we're just looking at the little rehab aspect, and we ride onto some shit. I feel like when you look at the late 1990s, uh, a lot of shit hadn't exactly changed with reality rap, but the commercial aspect was, man. It had this. It had a big, I think, magnificent. For commercial aspects, it had the magnificent surge. It had this big breakout shit. Again, you had Jay Z, DMX. That was for the New York shit. That was the biggest shit, and Jay Z was even bigger than DMX. If you really want to be real, that's just what it is. I mean, and longevity too. I mean, Jay Z was. goddamn star everywhere. But the South was peeping both of them, Jay Z, DMX, all that. I mean, the West Coast was, seeing the shit. I mean, New York was, coming on to this big commercial aspect. We know obviously Bad Boy, Puffy, all that shit was in the mix. Biggie to a bit of extent, all of that. Um, I mean, we gonna peep it, but the late 1990s was I think it was something different with the commercial aspect, obviously, just with where reality rap had been at, and the things that reality rap had gone through. All that little. I guess you did have a little bit of real drama going on with Death Row and the shit they had going with the whole blood shit and Crips, but also with certain little drama with Bad Boy. Yeah, that was outside the media. But then you had the media shit that was going on that was making this shit popular. So you had all that in the mix. And then come off of that for the late 1990s, you end up having this big ass commercial growth. Like it was, I, in terms of popularity, I mean, it was widespread. Like it really, really got to some other shit. Like it was trying to, make the next coming of the star, and it was gonna be coming off of some of the old, Pac and big media spectacle shit, man. Yeah, it was like that, but then not exactly. It was coming up off of that, but it was playing for the big commercial surge of popularity and all that. So you had the feel. So with that feel right there, the feel had it, you know, just going that way. But you still had some real, real deep shit bumping, man. I'm finna get to some of that shit. You know, even like Arizona Cardinals, look what they did in the late 1990s. Want people a little bit of that too? Why not? Shit. We want people a little bit. Um, I mean, it was just something different with the late 1990s, man. The shit that was happening. Um, Obviously, you had New Orleans, Master P, all that shit. I mean, a lot of shit. Just, I mean, you had reality rap, and the point of how the commercial aspect was gonna have things going further, and there was a difference in kind of where it had been with Pac and Big. There was a difference in terms of their, I guess, younger times, if you will, where things were just coming along. Now it was to its big ass industry point in 1998, 97, 98, 1999, all that shit. Um, there was a lot of things that was turning different ways in terms of industry shit. Even television shows, certain shit. New York Undercover didn't even represent like reality rap no more in that like last season or some shit like that. They didn't do that no more. Like it was different with commercial shit all over in terms of whether it was Fox and all that had kind of had a little, aspect where they included hip hop and some of the show, or they allowed it to be. It was a little different, I think, especially when you see something like New York Undercover not go with that shit no more. And they was always about kind of having a hip hop shit, even though, it was police on the show. But I mean, still, they was off in the city and off in the bars and, all that. And hey, you get this. Sometimes it's different. That was the type of scene you seen happening. Like there was a certain control, I think, where the hip hop shit was going in the industry. A lot of ways that certain people were feeling about the way that certain industry people were handling, reputations or handling how the music would be put out, or not just even that. Just when you look at the control of what gets put out, man. Um, you have kind of where it's gonna go with the people, basically, like that direction. And that was the key for the late 1990s. The direction was it was going to the control aspect of the industry shit. but this put a lot of motherfuckers in power. So you have more people in power. You have more MCs, more, you know, kind of little smaller DJ. I mean, a lot of motherfuckers was getting on a little more, if you will, in certain other more creative spaces. So you had a lot more creative business industry spaces, but it wasn't the same with that old reality rap, representing like, a certain keenness, a certain black conscience, all that. That had kind of wavered, basically. But there was still some real ass shit, goddamn, that people was kicking, man. And we're gonna get to, but we're gonna pivot right here a little bit off of, I guess, the Arizona point, man.
You look like a way
We're gonna get to our shit.
that I hate to relive. And, you know, we thought he was getting, oh, who could even come inside the hospital. It was very limited. That was day 2. And, I was there. I didn't want to go see him because one thing about him, his condition, what's going on. He's, induced in a coma. Did I want to go see the that we had? Well, but at the end of the day, the love that I had for him and the relationship that we had, you're going to put a little bit of respect on my name because I'm not just some fan or some body. I've been with and through some things with him, and, so his cousin was like, oh, I'm going to go grab my aunt. She goes in the back, they go in the back, and she gets the aunt, and, Yasmin comes out and she speaks to me and she tells me like his condition, what's going on. He's, induced in a coma. Did I want to go see him at that moment? I said, no. She said, well, not no. She said, if I want to see him, I could see him tomorrow. He should be, they'll take him out the comas. That's what the plan is. And I'm like, okay, I see all the boys, we're talking, crying, me crying, not them at the time. You know, and they're like, you good? I'm like, I just got here, I don't even know what's going on. They're like, all right, we got you, don't worry. So I, he, that was day 2, and I was there. I didn't want to go see him because one thing about him, he always said like, one, he didn't want no funeral. He didn't want people standing over him watching him in a vulnerable position either. So I was like, no, he's getting better. When he's alert and we could talk, I'm gonna see him then. It was a wild time. It was a lot of thoughts going around, and like not knowing who to trust, who could come in, who could even come inside the hospital. It was very limited. A lot of people did show up for him and show love. I remember seeing Hammer, Yo-Yo came, you know, um, Snoop came. Well, those are the people that came when I was there. Adina Howard came. She couldn't go inside though. She was, I guess a friend. And but it was a bad experience. And I was downstairs, so I people that had love for him and cared about him. Like his mother called in people to watch over him, stay there with some people overnight. Everyone was at the hospital and shipped. They were calling with death threat, but there were other people that
prior relationship before her or cut out of Jones. So when she's
because I block out a lot of that. But she started winning at the slot machine at the day he passed. The day was getting better, and that I hate to relive. And you know, but you know, Adina Howard came. She couldn't go inside though. She was, I guess a friend. That's why nobody was allowed in there. There was like security all around him, the personal security. Like his mother called in people to watch over him
How did you find
and
that
guard
out?
him.
How did
And
you find out people was calling up to the hospital sending two?
we're waiting
Take me through
times of the day to stay and just make sure everybody ran. We got, and she just says, one of the boys probably in time was he ever having they were calling with death threats
to the hospital.
for him and cared about him. I was A or B a fan or a mistress because they were in a relationship.
Energy was off. Like she was feeling the type of way seeing you up there.
And so his cousin was like, "Oh, I'm gonna go grab my aunt," because they have like a private waiting area. So the first people I remember seeing Hammer, Yo-Yo came. Well, those are the people that came when I was there. I guess a friend, and but it was a bad experience that I hate to relive, and you know, we thought he was getting better, going on with his body. So you know, the day he passed, of things, trauma and stuff going on with his body. So but he did have a lot of things. We thought he was getting better. Um, we thought he was getting better. Learn how to breathe again, get back to like, would have to, I think in Arizona, because he put him in a rehab facility, I think in Arizona, you know, the day he passed, you know, and, but he did have a lot of things. The day before, they were like making arrangements to put him in a rehab facility, I think in Arizona, because he would have to, learn how to breathe again, get back to like walking and using his hands properly. But as fate would have it, he didn't make it through that situation, and I think I've said before, like it was wild because, you know, tensions weren't as high. We were starting to feel like, all right, things are changing. Um, we had a van that would take us back and forth to the hospital. So like his mom was getting ready to go. Um, and I was downstairs. So I believe I was going to the hospital as well because I block out a lot of that. But she started winning at the slot machine at the same time. Like, how in Vegas, you're just in the lobby, they have the machines there. The machine, she hit. And this is the same exact time this man went into cardiac arrest. And that's when she got the phone call, and it was like everybody hit it. I thought that was ironic, you know. And do you have any questions you want to ask me?
Kadada Jones. So when
What
she
about
seen
her?
you, the energy was off. Like she was feeling the type of way seeing you up there. Did
Yeah.
she know that you and Tupac had a prior relationship before her, or
I do not think she thought anything. She I, not no. I don't think she knew that. I think that she probably just thought I was A or B a fan or a mistress because they were in a relationship. The next day, his mother had told me, like they were engaged. So, I think she just thought I was, she's his girl and nobody else belongs there. But there were other people that had love for him and cared about him. So, and I don't know what was going on in their relationship as well, whether he was stepping out or not. Me knowing him, I find it hard to believe that he would be with just one woman, especially at that time. So
is it true that Tupac he was getting death threats while he was in the hospital? Like people they was calling up to the hospital saying they was going to kill Tupac.
Yeah, that was they were people calling and having they were calling with death threats. That's why nobody was allowed in there. There was like security all around him, the personal security. Like his mother called in people to watch over him
How did you find
and
that
guard
out?
him.
How did
And
you find out people was calling up to the hospital sending Tupac death threats?
um, one of the boys probably told me because everyone was at the hospital in shifts. At no point in time was he ever unattended by family members. And, so, there's like, certain days I would stay there with some people overnight, like we would just have a few of us taking different shifts, different times of the day to stay and just make sure, nothing happens. Um, Try to protect or, just be alert.
Take me through the moment when you found out Tupac passed away.
There was a lot of shit at that hospital and all that. Clearly, people got different views a little bit. Kind of throw shit a little bit off, but especially I guess after like with Fanny's word on the shit to the doctors and all that shit. I'm looking at that. I mean, even then, the doctors don't even make it like it's over with it. Even with what a Fanny was saying, basically on the whole no resuscitating, all that shit. I don't. It doesn't. I don't think it makes. I don't think it makes it fully even. I don't think it makes it fully that the doctors just you know just said it was over either at that moment when I'm looking at it. But it's what it is.
Tupac passed away.
I was coming down the elevator van to go to the hospital and she got the call. His mom was in the lobby. We were getting ready to get in the van to go to the I'm the escalator. His mom was in the lobby.
Take me
Elevator. I'm the escalator. Coming down the elevator.
take me through the moment when you found out Tupac passed away.
I was coming down the elevator. I'm the escalator. His mom was in the lobby. We were getting ready to get in the van to go to the hospital and she got the call and she said, he's flatlining.
Yeah. And also Desiree mentioned she didn't really go in the room really to really see Pac either. So I'm looking at that shit, but she just got the word. It's just a word on it.
And everybody ran. We got to the hospital. We're waiting to hear some type of news when she comes out and she just says, you know, uh, she said he, basically he's gone, that she couldn't put him through anymore. And, he's at peace.
That's what they got on it. That's the word. But shit, again, that's just the word they got. But none of the matter, man. Obviously, it would have been a lot of things with rehab, and obviously, there's a lot of shit he was finna do. Okay, here we go, man. Right back on it. A lot of things. Interesting enough, man. When you look at how Baltimore, you gotta look at Baltimore, man. Right before we get to the little Arizona shit we're talking about, but a lot of shit with Baltimore. Like at times they didn't really exactly always understand the reality of rap shit. And the thing when you look at Pac, man, from Baltimore, man. One of the guys that came out with him to Baltimore, I mean, from Baltimore to Oakland, he had a best friend, white guy named John Cole. His best friend from the arts school, but it's still a nigga he grew up with, man. And he had rap with the guy. Make sure I get his name right. Guy named Mr. Smith, Dana. His name was Dana Smith, and Mouse Man. And I guess they met when Pac, of course, when he came to Baltimore. But I mean, Pac went to Dunbar High for a little bit. Then he went to Baltimore School of Arts. But Dunbar High, people know that's Muggy Bowl, spot and all that shit. Um, yeah, Pac was there. So Pac did a little freshman year, did a bit of time at Dunbar, then went to Baltimore School of the Arts, as you say right here. But the guy Dana Smith, they did a little rhyming, and Smith would be one of the people that really, or the main one from Baltimore, that kind of, rolled with Pac later in the 1990s, on the West Coast shit, some music, all that, um, shit like that. And it said, as I said right here, Dana Smith went to the West Coast to help Shakur write records, so that he did. But as I said, he keep in touch with Baltimore. He come back here and there, uh, especially during like promotions while he in the 1990s. Yeah, made several return visits, but usually part of record promotions. He ride in limousines, but he still presented himself as Shakur the Old, and that's what they was on Baltimore when as they talk about Pac. They always fuck with him off of that. Um, I think that's a key aspect too, man. You look at 1996, you got the Baltimore Ravens coming in. Look at how they rap, the people rap, Baltimore, pinball, all that shit. I mean, like the pinball machines, they got certain shit like that that they got big underrated shit for. It's like DC got Go Go and all that shit. Um, Baltimore's one of the top pinball machine places and shit like that. But a lot of shit go on in Baltimore. We all know the shit. We got cocaine and shit happening and all that. Um, but a lot of shit gets worked. Like a lot of talent homes and shit, man. You see it from Dana Smith, of course, rolling with Pac, John Cole, the white guy. Um, Actually, that was Pac's best friend from the arts school of Baltimore. You know, but as I said, they always recognize the immense talent with Shakur and dazzling magnetism, but little else. They barely recognize the figure on national stage. They recognize the immense talent and dazzling magnetism, but little else. So there was something different when he was on the stage, but they didn't exactly get that reality rap, you know, national stage aspect. But they knew the talent. Obviously, they knew the magnetism from old Baltimore shit. But little else that was coming off of that because of so much shit with that reality rap it was going to. Uh, and this is even in the 1990s. So, but Bob always, they always rap. Pac always talked about the magnetism and talent and shit like that. So, that's the thing I realized with 1997, 98. The Arizona Cardinals, finna just check out a little bit. There was always, the way they boomed for that year, Jake Plummer, all that shit, man. Um, defense, Nias Williams, man. The way they boomed that shit that year was something different. I realized, I mean, they had never had a season like that. Just Arizona, they was the motherfucking surprise, you know, shit basically, you know, being underrated as they was. Yeah, man. That's kind of like some comeback shit. I don't think people recognize that in the immensity of that. The Cardinals within the mix of all the top, NFL teams at the time. That was some big shit, but underrated. Uh, he had one of the most underrated times ever of just getting to the playoffs and shit. But that was the spot where Pac was going. That's the spot where Pac was set for rehab right there, Arizona. That's what it is. But look at this shit that the Cardinals that pulled off right there at the same time. No, well, it was 96, it was 1997, 98, 1998. But still, like 1990s, man. What it was right there. But, you know, that's where Pac was set at, all that coming back. But the Cardinals was on that shit like that, man. No, this ain't no conspiracy or coincidence shit. We're just saying, this is what it is. Look how the Cardinals kind of came where people wasn't fucking expecting it. That's like Pac in Arizona for the you know for the rehab shit like that. You know, especially after you look at all the years Pac and Shock G and all of that. The old digital underground shit. That's where Dana Smith and Pac was doing shit at, man. Oakland, all them early years we see here when they be Shock G, all that shit. Shock discovering them and all that. I mean, Rolling Stone showing it all. Just a lot of shit, Um, it was always still Baltimore there, basically. So, just mentioning that. Said we gotta bring in one more thing before we hit the jam. This shit get deep, man. This shit get deep. With motherfuckers, they really can't end the shit, They can't end the shit with what Pac was saying. It was so much shit when you look at after. Look at how Mob Deep was doing within all the big commercial shit. Mob Deep, they came up some more. But when you look at that time, man, and who was still keeping the shit real, I say like Mob Deep was definitely one of them. That makes sense too. What Prodigy would say later about Pac, a lot of good shit. Seeing the notebooks and Queens about Pac and certain things and making the community better and all of that. So that aspect right there, man. That shit took it to a big point, right? Um, I feel with Prodigy still keeping certain underground shit going in the era where he was talking, he was saying this shit. That was just a few years before the All Eyes on Me 20th year anniversary when the movie shit came out 2017, 21st anniversary. It's a few years before Prodigy was speaking at NRAC TV, man, and he said a lot of shit. Said a lot of shit of what niggas need to do, period. But he said Pac was already kind of ahead, saying certain shit, trying to get certain shit together. Niggas would have something like going against the government as they start making they shit, you know, work on through, and happen. Then it's like niggas got to be able to do that same too. So at the end of the day, it's great when you see some shit like Prodigy. I think have that significance too when you're talking about mentioning shit about Pot. There's a big significance with Prodigy and what it was about. And then mentioning how Pac was already had certain niggas that, like from where Prodigy's from, in Queens, um, or grew up at in Queens. Pac had certain niggas on shit, niggas that Prodigy knew. Like he had them, Pac had them on certain shit, like just peeping it around. So and that continues and shit like that. What Prodigy was saying, man. So it makes sense. It makes sense when you look at it that for this whole 20th anniversary, a lot of shit had basically already gotten away from that. So you can see Prodigy was just bringing shit back to that aspect of that was the shit reality rap was on, man. It was really trying to take to the place where niggas was still gonna be strong with addressing some shit against government, but still making a actual action and shit like that happen for the black community and just in just the city with just niggas in the city, man, like that. And well, that still did happen to an extent, but it was in a smaller place of shit. Like what Project was saying, you still got some niggas that's drinking 40s, but they really stand, you know, reading some shit, trying to put people on, but they drinking their 40s, but they still be for real onto some shit, about what's happening around, whereas other motherfuckers really is not on that. Other people in higher places. And just these aspects like that, and, you know, I probably was on some comeback shit. You can tell that was what was popping, what he was going for around the whole All Eyes on Me um, 20th anniversary, 21st anniversary, shit like that. 2017, you tell the Prodigy was still on that type of shit and was going for it. So I think with shit like that, it's more than a mainstay. And it makes sense where he was coming from because of the way things had gotten for overall reality rap. Everything was becoming this big ass, you know, it's a place of just, people getting off whatever type of acts and personalities they can fucking do with in terms of their power and money, shit like that, Then people was getting off in type of behaviors or personalities, whatever the fuck they had got from out that shit with their reputation. They was adding it to the personality. It was becoming like that type of shit. And that's clearly away from what it once was. But I think Prodigy was still keeping, he was still keeping the shit, especially with the way he was saying shit in the NREC interviews. Shit, check this out real quick.
I knew Foxy was out there with Zip now. And the story that I heard was when Keefe D and them saw Tupac and them, they told Zip and them they was gonna go holler at those dudes. Zip and them went one way and Keefe D and them went the other way. And the other way was to where Pac and them was at. I heard the full story when an individual who was out there with them came back to the block and told us. Foxy has been through a lot in this industry. A lot of things, bro. And if people think that Jaguar Wright has been damaged in this industry, Foxy is a whole nother problem for them. It's gonna be really interesting if she gets on a jury stand and remembers or either articulate anything that happened that night. I knew Foxy.
Okay, well that's not exactly that's not exactly a point of necessarily like you know end all be all shit. It's not that, right? But even so, man, even when you look at this shit right here, talking about Foxy Brown, the niggas that she knew. Obviously, this is not directly with Pac. This is more like niggas that knew niggas that was trying to get at Pac. She knew niggas that had issues or whatever with Pac. Yeah, you know. That's why I say sometimes Gene Deal's a little off. I mean, Foxy did her own shit though. Not saying it's all her fault, but Foxy did her own shit. You know, straight up. Like whatever she did, I mean, certain shit was on Foxy. What Foxy was trying to do, But it's definitely different than Jaguar, right? I will say that for sure. I see what Gene Deal's saying. Um, but Foxy was more on than Jaguar too. So yeah, there's gonna be a little bit more Foxy than Scene for sure than Jaguar. I see what Gene Deal's saying on that, but even with that, Foxy, she still did some of her own shit. Like it's still on her in that way. But she, of course, she knew niggas that trying to get that Pac. I mean, Foxy was within the biggest of the New York motherfuckers. That 1995, 96 shit. I mean, yeah, she knew people, but you know the Pac situation. There's a lot with some of that West Coast shit happening outside of the music industry. But for the niggas outside of the music industry, it was the shit what they was doing with the music industry niggas, the death row motherfuckers and shit like that. Some of them mixing Trayvon Lane or Blood, doing this shit. Already had drama on the outside of any business building of music. He had drama on the outside with the Crips, Keefe's people, all that shit. I mean, there was already a lot of that shit going on away from the industry. That's just what it was. It's not exactly inside job. Death Row did have, some little FBI connection, though they didn't exactly all know that. You know how that shit goes. They didn't exactly all know who like the agent was, shit like that. Pac didn't know for sure. But even with that shit, man, look at look at what happened years later. Again, around this whole time of All Eyes on Me anniversary. Look at the Keefe shit, man. And you already been dealing with a case of PCP and been asked questions about Pac and all this shit. And then Keefe Boom started the rise. That was a different aspect with that rise of popularity than the Prodigy aspect, the shit like that, where Prodigy was trying to see shit go with the community. You see where Keefe was going with shit. Keefe became the thing, or became the big attention for the situation. It wasn't really no inside job. It was more the laws had Keefe. Like that's all they needed. All they needed was Keefe. Straight up. So that's where shit goes. So they'll go off that, but the laws themselves, they don't make it like it's an inside job. but they don't have to because they got Keefe, and that shit is still separate because from any inside job, you know, because of Keefe's situation that he already was dealing with in terms of the PCP case he had, which is some separate shit. But because of what he admitted to, then that's where the laws don't have to worry about prying for evidence of an inside job. The motherfuckers got Keefe D. You know, there go that shit. Uh, they don't exactly even need Foxy, unless she decides to do it like Keefe and say some shit. But they don't. It's just like saying they just need the motherfuckers that are trying to say some shit, and boom, the laws don't have to say it's an inside job. They don't have to on that. They just got the person, which is Keefe in the case, saying shit. So that right there, I think, really says something. Uh, for the whole all eyes on me shit and all that. There's so much shit continuing off of, Pac and all, especially Pac's situation because of how much he was, dealing with shit from Baltimore to, with the people and, trying to, just be about the people, take certain actions here and there. Some of them was, obviously he had his ass, up against them fucking laws, but even so, man, he tried, and then you look at the shit years later, and then there's so much shit trying to derail the situation from what really was taking place and shit like that. So it's just certain shit motherfuckers got to know where to stick with like that, at it, straight up at it, man. So even with certain media controls, you know, shit, the shit that sticks. Okay, even with so much media control, the shit that sticks, you know, the shit that pulls people's eyes in, or whatever, shit shut, closed, shit like that. You know how it is, man. Things try to fall and just work into a damn spiral out of control and shit. Fuck up the timing and what eyes, what is, all that shit, what drama, what shit gets said, what don't, you know. And the timing, seems to play, certain eyes and to just the way it misses those type of situations and episodes, of the situation and the scenario. You know, people looking for something to, hitch people up on, you know, see them not really catch up on shit, you know, in depth to have them thrown off and some shit, man. Give and go, how it goes. Just a little something right there. We talk about this whole shit with the reality and Pac and who knew what, or who didn't know some shit, or who was the FBI agent, you know. I mean, who did investigations, all this type of shit. Who tries to reopen shit, man. much motherfuckers got the Glock 40. All that. It's the LAPD or the niggas. You know, shit. Who got the plot and more for a fee? It's a lot more shit than Glock 40s, man. I'm just saying. Uh, it's a lot more, clocking and, you know, people really just somewhat it's like position jocking with this whole enemy shit. Jocking the enemy shit, Glock 40 shit, man. It's still, man, it's plentiful to see. And people still, jetting to the fucking places, whatever, where they be. They jetting on, you hear that shit that, being said, motherfuckers just be gone, just gone. It's on to the next shit. Just saying a little spoken word, but it just be on to the next shit. Regardless how much shit spiral out, man, motherfuckers feel affected. They feel affected. A society doing shit. Try to have motherfuckers all clamming around. Something like that, man. Putting dirt, somebody's name, another. However it goes like that, man. Hey, it's just another way that people playing past what is some web shit. It's like that. Because people ain't looking for any damn tears or no shit like that, man. You know, especially when you look at all the shit that's it's been nested. It's been played the boxes. It's just boxed up all that shit. All that shit. Motherfuckers make they toss up on that shit. It's just like the Glocks up on the shit. The Glock 40. People talk about what's missing, but that shit ain't missing or nothing like that. LAPD has it. You know, but it's all some shit out here. Scandalous and motherfuckers is going for the next shit. Rappers and it's still shit still be on straight like that. This is past Foxy Brown or the Foxes or whatever, bitches or whatever, niggas or whatever, hoes and they fucking with us. Past money, hoes and dick and all this shit. It's past all that shit. Um, you know, like that. And it's gonna be a little more than who gets outclassed in this shit. This shit seem to be more like I put away, goddamn, get somewhere from it. You who decides who's gonna say one thing, have the situation and the anger, pin away, like that. It's just done away like that, man. Shit. But shit still gets extended into some type of way. It's like that. So there's some shit with Pac. It definitely gets extended. So it's something, man. I mean, the man rep hard for some curse situations. Believe that shit. Like no other in reality rap. Because reality rap, niggas don't even, and the bitches don't even really go rapping for no curse shit. Not like that, but reality rap did something the most than other music genres. But when you look at who did it the most, or rap the curse shit the most, especially 1990s, I mean, that was pop. So when you look at the late 1990s, you kind of see it wasn't about that type of rapping, anything like that anymore. It's straight like that. We all get down some shit. We keep the phone to it, man. Hey, we can't goddamn, you know, put our motherfucking mind, body, and soul elsewhere. You know, we got that reality to this shit. Yeah, keep it going like that. You know, it ain't tucked on away or nothing like that. We talking about the motherfucking funk over here. You know, hip it on like something. You know, but like that. It's like, you know, you getting to sip on through the day. And it's fun. This shit get no bullshit play, baby. It's all real play here, baby. um, going like that. So, you know, we talking about keeping some shit going, keeping something, you know, past just old, like some old money, old records, old court shit, something out there in the city, you know, people, man, they feel they can't be fucking bargained with it or bothered with it. You standing strong like some prodigy shit, Mob Deep, you know, like that. That's how it is. When you're talking about, you know, what you harness in it, you know, harness with it, shit like that. But you know, you got all this shit with investigative fucking charges, you know, whatever time spent off of some shit, you know, whether it's whatever court case or some investigations, some shit. You got motherfuckers serving prison time, and then you still see it so big around reality rap. You know, you're still trying to deal with the dreary shit. You know, that looks to you know, looks to make shit just really fly by like slide. You know, shit just play slide. You know, like that. It don't just fucking sit aside. It does stay. You know, like keep on going and moving. So you got a lot of people putting their situations and their views, and components. There's some truths, some half truths, all that. You know, people going one way with it, one opinion. Some shit, it's not really absolute. Um, People got what the fuck they pick and choose. It's like that. But what they gonna believe or what the fuck they not gonna hear. But what people will go off of, what they'll do, and or what they don't. I mean, it's still where the trust will be with this shit. I'm talking about, but motherfuckers ain't looking at it like that. We look at the whole thing like certain murders or certain talks of murders or certain shit who set motherfuckers up and the government is in it. Damn, you know. But this is more than just another motherfucker who done it. Or, you know, somebody that got you know, under with it. Or got, you know, underhanded with it. Still, this shit ain't done, and motherfuckers can't stand it. They gotta understand that shit. It just ain't done. It's just like that. That's the main shit. See, some of this Pac shit, the reality of it. We look at certain shit with Big. I mean, obviously, Big was a legend with the flow and shit like that, but he wasn't on the, the whole political black conscious shit like Pac. It wasn't to that aspect. Pac did it to where he could, he could put it within the reality rap shit too. I mean, that was special like this. So, shit ain't done. That's all the niggas saying, Just works just slow cyber shit, baby. It's like slow shit, like the knife at you, worlds try to come with and cut and backstab and see motherfuckers, you know, just fall off and lag, all that shit, you know. People looking for the tragic of some shit, man. And people put off in the body bags. I mean, it's like that type of shit going on, you know. And they ain't trying to just play blood stains on the rags, but you know, people looking for more of the chains or the raw shit, you know, to become the nag and the nagging how you have the anti-rap people that ain't trying to really peep back, and they damn sure ain't really peeping on these anti-rap type of people. They got the big agenda and the scrutiny at the reality rap going on, especially through the years. You know, the journey, all that shit, staying true, stern is wrong, but it ain't done when you keep that real shit going on and on and on and on, or something like that. And that's just from the heart. Yeah, let it grow like that, slow, baby. Uh, we gonna go ahead and rock it on, man. You gotta really, 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 really slow it down. But this on like some good shit. Like when I say good, I mean it ain't no bullshit. Slow now. It's smooth shit, like that. So we gonna get into football. Y'all see this shit right here. Pac, man, the say out. Say out. It was everywhere in the 1990s, on the field, off the field, the clubs, the albums, all that shit. It is like that. But where we was at with it, right here, came on some of this shit. Just looking at the Arizona, obviously that was gonna be obviously that was the spot of Pac's rehab shit. All the shit, all the scheduling, Arizona shit. There you go. Working on just fuck with it like this. People to Atlanta shit. Obviously, Pac did this shit around there with niggas that know a damn shame. TLC left eye, Pimp C in Atlanta, too short. Atlanta, I mean, damn. The late 1990s, I mean, the South definitely, they had their way with the shit. I think that it made shit different from the New York shit. When you look at a damn shame, they got that Midwest shit with their raps too. I like that shit. They got that like Dayton family shit. I think that right there, that just make a damn shame. They definitely gotta be underground legends for that shit. Or just legends period, but definitely for the underground. I mean, you gotta have some damn shame. I mean, they was hitting it big with the UGK too short. Like they didn't exactly get to such a the most like memorable, popular place. But I mean, they still all in the same. They got the rock shit with UGK too short and damn shame, man. Um, they didn't fall short. They didn't. They didn't like have nothing less than just I mean dope ass rhyming straight up like that. I mean they were still kicking some reality shit about the shit happening off in the cities and everywhere. Atlanta. I mean, where you see, I'm talking about they had a certain depth with it. It was like how the Midwest was flowing a little bit. Yeah, that thing was kicking that shit on, man. Like all the time, like it last night. Yeah, that's where we left off at, man. We'll go ahead and work it off the beat we had. Yeah, we also had some late 1990s shit. I mean, Tyson's training. I mean, you gotta look at that shit up, especially with all the cannabis shit in the mix, man. Doing his shit from all that. He's on a little bit of some prodigy shit, cannabis or some shit like that. He had a bit of that. Yeah, straight up like that, man. Like just hella ways with it. That's how Prodigy had that rap shit a little bit. But Prodigy had that little extra poem reality shit to it. A little more than Cannabis. But Cannabis definitely had a little more of that spitting and that rhyming. Shit. I mean, you was still getting some wild flows and shit off for the late 1990s, but um, some of it got some cool attention, but obviously it was at times it was really competing against the big ass commercial aspect that was becoming the outlook of the reality rap, you know. Um, but you gotta like the late 1990s with the spitters. Like you had Crazy from New Orleans, you had Black Haze, uh, you had Screwface, Pontiac, Michigan. They was rapping some Pac shit. Some of you say crazy sound like some Pac shit. I mean, maybe a little bit. You mean, but still, it was good rapping. You gotta like how that aspect was still there. Damn Shane was rapping, Pac. I mean, it was like there was something continuing past the industry. I think that. I mean, damn, this is like Arizona rehab and more. I mean, that's what you was getting, really, man. And that shit was everywhere. It was like that whole 50 nigga shit Pac used to talk about, the early days. I mean, there was something much more. So you could see that went on in the 2G because you had people like Lil Wayne rapping Mike Tyson or some Pac shit or, like that. I mean, the NO was rap, how it is. The whole Cash Money, LBG, Juvie, all that shit. But mainly, yeah, Birdman, BG, Wayne, yeah, rapping the shit. Uh, from the South, I gotta say it was Screw and Pimp C the most. Fucking with the Pac shit. From what I heard, like from what I'm like heard of from when they talk or said interviews or shit. When you look at it way back, Pimp was really rapping on some Pac shit. I mean, so I mean, and of course Screw was, you know, hell, and that's a damn DJ. You gotta like that. The South was doing this shit for real different. Uh, Yeah, I like that shit in the mix, but there's some Tyson shit here. We gonna fuck with it too. The 1999 shit. Let it rock off, man. All right.